Mirza Ghulaam Ahmed made certain claims. He claimed, for example, that he was the Imam al-Mahdi, our Prophet, Allah's blessing be upon him. He prophesied that in the end time, at that time when Nabi Isa, when Jesus, Alaihi salam, is to return, before he returns, Allah will raise from this ummah or this community of followers of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, one who is from the seed of Muhammad, from his family alayhi salatu wasalam. And this man will restore the Khilafah state. The Khilafah state is what Nabi Dawood alayhi salam, the Prophet David, established in Jerusalem. They call it Holy Israel. We call it the Khilafah state. It's the same thing. And Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam, the Prophet Solomon, he ruled over that Khilafah state or Holy Israel. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, he established a Khilafah state in Arabia, in Medina. This Khilafah state is a state which recognizes Allah as supreme over the state. Allah's law is supreme over the state. The parliament cannot change Allah's law. If Allah made something halal or permissible, Parliament cannot make it haram. Like, for example, and this is so simple. This is so simple. Our Christian listening audience would know that Maryam, or Mary, the mother of Jesus, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, she had just reached the age of puberty. All this while she was living in the temple. We know it as Masjid al-Aqsa, the temple of Solomon. But when she reached the age of puberty, she now has the monthly cycle, the menstrual cycle, and she can no longer reside in the temple. So then, she had to leave the temple and go back home to live with her mother. And it was shortly after that that the angel came to her, the angel Gabriel, Jibreel alayhi salam, in the form of a human being. And the angel said to her, Maryam, Allah has decreed you're going to have a baby boy. And she asked, how can I have a baby boy when no man has ever touched me? Indicating that she was not married, she was single, and that she had not committed any of that sin called zina. How can I have a baby boy when no man has ever touched me? But as the angel said, it is a thing decreed by Allah. And the word of Allah was cast on her, and she became pregnant. What was her age? When Allah decreed that she would become pregnant and have a baby boy, was she 18? The Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago supported every single political party represented in the Parliament of this country. All bowed down and submitted like slaves to the IMF when the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, ordered this government that you must enact this legislation. And of course, the Attorney General of this country, who is an arrogant young man, forgive my harsh language, but I have to say it, this is arrogance. He decided that he will have the sham, it's called a sham consultation with the people. The Muslim community said, no, we cannot accept legislation which prohibits a girl from getting married before under the age of 18. That it's only when she reaches the age of 18 that she can be married. The Muslim community opposed it. The arrogant Attorney General of this country merely had the formality of meeting some people in his office and then dismissed them, and then proceeded with bringing the legislation to Parliament. That's arrogance. And our people who support that arrogance are misguided. And then they go and vote for that arrogance. You will answer for it on Judgment Day, because Allah has permitted it. She must have been about 13 or 14 years of age. Yes, when the angel came. The Hindus of this country have just lost their leader, Satnarayan Maharaj, and we offer our condolences to them on this passing of Sat Maharaj. But he was married. His wife was the daughter of Bade Sagan Maharaj. And I honor and I respect Bade Sagan Maharaj, because his daughter was only 14 years of age. And he arranged the marriage with Satnarayan Maharaj, and Sat was 21 years of age. Those are sensible people, but today we have lost the capacity to think. That is a sickness of this age. People have lost the capacity to think, and they're all brainwashed. And so they all supported this legislation that not only now in Trinidad, everywhere in the world, everywhere the IMF is enforcing it all over the world. She has to be 18 before she can be married. If you make haram what Allah made halal, you're committing blasphemy. You are committing heresy. I don't know which word to use, blasphemy or heresy. And you will pay a dreadful price for that on Judgment Day. So she was only about 13 or 14 when the angel came to her and said, you're going to have a baby boy. And she became pregnant. And lo and behold, when she became pregnant, and it was visible, she went to her by herself in a lonely place, away from the people. It must have been a frightful experience for her, to be all by herself at that young age and pregnant. And people normally, when childbirth is taking place, they have so many women around them, they have the midwife and all of these things, you don't know what can happen. And this girl is all by herself, all alone. And when the pangs of childbirth came, it was so painful for her, she said, I wish I were dead. That's what she said, it's there in the Quran. And then a voice spoke to her from beneath her. We do not know whether it is the voice of the unborn baby or whether it is the voice of the angel, Gabriel. Mary, shake the date palm, and ripe dates would fall, and eat it. You get some strength from the dates. That's what dates do. They give you energy. And there's a running stream of water beside you. Wash yourself, refresh yourself. And Mary, you must make a vow that on this day you will not speak to anyone. Zachariah also made that vow in the temple when the angel came to him and told him, you're going to have a son, and the boy's name will be Yahya or John. And when he came out of the temple, he did not speak, he only made sign language, because he took a vow not to speak for 3 days. And she took the vow not to speak for 1 day, the day that the baby was born. I'm saying all of these things because this is a Khilafah state. And in the Khilafah state, Allah is supreme. Allah's law is supreme. And what Allah has decreed is enforced in that state. That's a Khilafah state. Nowhere in the world do you have that today, because they're all members of the United Nations Organization, and the United Nations Organization has a Security Council. And the Security Council says in Article 24 and 25, know this because I've studied international relations in 2 universities. I studied here at the Institute of International Relations at UWI in Sindh, and they were looking down at me, this Pakistani graduate, and at the end of the year I came first in the exams. And I also studied it at the Graduate Institute of International Studies in Geneva. The Articles 24 and 25 of the Charter of the United Nations establishes the Security Council with supreme authority in the world. Supreme authority in the world in all matters pertaining to international peace and security. Allah is not Al-Akbar. His law is not supreme. Once you are a member of the United Nations Organization, if the Security Council tells you sit down, you must sit down. If it says stand up, you must stand up. So it is when Imam al-Mahdi comes, he will restore the Khilafah state in Arabia. It does not exist now. And when that Khilafah state is restored in Arabia, that will prepare the way for the coming of Nabi Isa alayhi salam. Jesus, Mirza Ghulaam Ahmed declared, I am the Mahdi. What a terrible lie. I want the members of the Ahmadiyya movement to know that your leader told a lie when he said he is the Imam al-Mahdi, because the Imam al-Mahdi has not come as yet. He's coming, and he will restore the Khilafah state in Arabia, and that will prepare the way for the return of Nabi Isa alayhi